The movie starts with a guy named Kosuke Mizushima getting ready and shining his shoes because he has plans for the day. Then, his two friends visit him and tell him that the bride is ready. Next, the movie takes us back to 10 years ago, when Kosuke was still in high school. He becomes friends with two nerdy students, Akiyama Kodome and Sugimura Kazuki. At school, a female teacher scolds him for his messy hair, but instead of getting in trouble, Kosuke manages to charm the teacher. In class, he makes a disruptive joke and is made to sit facing the back wall. Later, he's asked to sit in front of one of the smartest girls in class, Mei Hayase, and Mei is told to help him study. The next day, during a math lesson, Mei forgets her textbook and is about to accept punishment when Kosuke, sitting in front of her, gives her his textbook. He takes the punishment and sits at the back of the class. At lunch, Mei thanks Kosuke for helping her and asks why he doesn't pay attention in class. Kosuke admits that studying is boring, which annoys Mei, and she leaves. The following day, Kosuke leaves for school early to practice martial arts with his friend, Kento Machida, who's really good at sports. When he arrives at school, he meets Mei, who also arrived early. They have a casual conversation, and Kosuke realizes that Mei is not a quiet girl and is fun to talk to. From then on, Kosuke and Mei become close, and Mei helps him study, making sure he doesn't fall asleep or make jokes in class. One day, Mei gave Kosuke some math practice questions and a math book to help him understand the lesson better. That night, Kosuke struggled with the math questions. The next day, he went to school early for martial arts practice and found only Mei there. Mei asked to see the practice questions she had given him, and they were all wrong. Mei then helped Kosuke with new questions using the steps she had taught him. Kosuke started studying hard and eventually got a good score on the math exam. Mei was happy because she had managed to teach Kosuke, who was one of the least smart and most lazy students in the class. Mei and Kosuke began studying together after school. One day, Kosuke, feeling confident, challenged Mei to see who could get the highest rank in the semester exam. They agreed that the winner could ask anything from the loser. Mei accepted the challenge, and both of them became more active in their studies. Sometimes Kosuke teased Mei when she was focused on studying, but she ignored it. The day of the exam results arrived. As expected, Mei ranked second best, while Kosuke didn't even make it to the top 10. According to their agreement, Kosuke had to fulfill Mei's request to cut his long hair since he lost. Mei was shocked when Kosuke became bald, but couldn't help laughing because he looked even more adorable. Kosuke's friends were surprised too and playfully touched his head. Kosuke and his four friends were sitting when Mei and her friend, Otoko Komatsubara, walked by. Kosuke was amazed by Mei's beauty, especially her new bangs and hairstyle. It was at that moment that Kosuke realized he had fallen in love with Mei. One day, before their lesson began, a local police officer came to their class. There was a report of vandalism and theft in the school, and the police suspected it happened before 7 o'clock in the morning. So their teacher decided to check students who arrived at school before 7. Kosuke got upset because he felt their teacher didn't trust them. He threw his bag down, and other students, including Mei, did the same. Kosuke, Kento, and some other students, including Mei, who came to school early, were punished by standing in the hallway. Kosuke teased Mei, who was crying because it was her first time being punished. A few months later, it was graduation day. Mei was chosen as the student representative to give a speech. Everyone was moved by her speech. Afterward, Kosuke and his friends joked in the schoolyard one last time. Meanwhile, Mei and Otoko were chatting, and Mei whispered about a guy she liked to Otoko. Kosuke and his friends went to the beach with Mei and Otoko. They sat together, sharing their hopes and dreams after school. In the evening, Kosuke got a call from Mei asking him to come over urgently. Worried, Kosuke rushed to find Mei crying because she didn't get into the college she wanted. Kosuke comforted her and used his shirt to wipe away her tears. Not too long after, Mei got accepted into a university in Tokyo, which meant she had to move from their city. Before she left, Kosuke drove her to the train station and gave her a gift, which is a white t-shirt that said, "You are the apple of my eye." Then they said their goodbyes. Meanwhile, Kosuke got into a university in their city and studied culture. Kosuke and Mei stayed in touch through phone calls. Mei told Kosuke that she was living with Otoko, who was also attending the same university. A few months later, during summer vacation, Mei decided to visit her hometown to meet Kosuke. They spent time together, visiting different places. During their time together, Mei asked Kosuke why he liked her. Kosuke's answer disappointed Mei because she was expecting a serious response. Feeling let down, Mei left Kosuke, making him think that she didn't like him. Later on, Mei and Kosuke planned to release lanterns together. Kosuke admitted that he liked Mei without expecting anything in return because he was afraid of being rejected. Mei, on the other hand, wanted to express her love for Kosuke, but gave up after hearing his words. At some point, Kosuke organized a fight night event at his college and invited Mei, hoping to impress her with his physical abilities. However, Mei wasn't impressed at all. She thought Kosuke was acting childish by hurting himself. This led to a big argument, and Kosuke left Mei in the pouring rain. After that incident, Mei and Kosuke stopped communicating and went their separate ways. 2 years later, Japan experienced an earthquake. Worried about Mei, Kosuke quickly called her to check if she was okay. Interestingly, Mei was also planning to call Kosuke to see how he was doing. During their conversation, Kosuke asked Mei about her feelings and why she had turned down dating him before. Mei explained that at that time, she wasn't ready for a romantic relationship with Kosuke for various reasons. As they talked on the phone for a long time, Kosuke and Mei sadly realized that they weren't meant to be a couple. Mei expressed her gratitude to Kosuke for loving her and being there for her during their school days. Years later, Kosuke became a well-known web novel writer. One day, Mei called him to share the news of her upcoming wedding and invited him to attend. Kosuke planned to go to Mei's wedding with Ekiyama and Sugimura. When he saw Mei in her wedding dress, he was stunned by her beauty. Despite their past feelings, Kosuke was genuinely happy to see Mei finding her happiness, even though they couldn't be together. Many of Mei's old school friends came to her wedding, and they were surprised to see how their past emotions had transformed into deep friendships and calmness. Later, as they all gathered to congratulate the newlyweds, Kento and others joked about kissing the bride. Mei's husband playfully said that anyone who wanted to kiss the bride should kiss him first. Without thinking, Kosuke surprised everyone by grabbing the groom and playfully kissing him as if he was going to kiss Mei. While doing this, Kosuke thought about how he regretted the fight they had a few years ago, and how things could have been different if he had apologized for his immature behavior. Meanwhile, Mei remembered her past moments with Kosuke. She once confided in Otoko that she liked Kosuke and wanted to always be with him. She even wrote her wish on a lantern. The movie ends with Kosuke starting to work on a web novel about his experiences with Mei. So the moral of the story is sometimes it's better to let go of past misunderstandings and be happy for others, even if it means kissing the groom instead of the bride at a wedding.